to run through some examples on determining the missing sides of a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Okay, so let's begin. Remember the relationship that we established. Okay, we said that for any 30, 60, 90, if you had the short side, you doubled it and got the hypotenuse, and you took the short side and multiplied it by root 3 and got the long side. Okay, so let's take a look then. So here we go. Let's take a look, okay? Here we go. Let's take a look at some problems, okay? Given all you need is one length and the other two can be found, okay? Here the short side is given is 8. That means double that. 16 is the hypotenuse. 8 to root of 3 is the long side opposite to 60. Here is the long side given, 5 to root 3. What we know we have to do, we should have to divide by the root of 3 to get the short side. That would be 5, and this would be double that for 10. Okay? Here we have the hypotenuse. If we cut the hypotenuse in half, we get the short side. If we take the short side and multiply it by root 3, we get the long side. There's our missing sides there. Runs through some more. Here's the long side, opposite to 60. It's given with a radical 3. If we divide by root 3, we get 9, which is the short side. We double that, and we get 18, which is the hypotenuse. Here's the short side, given as the side opposite to 45, opposite to 30, which is 45. Double it. 90 is the hypotenuse. Go and multiply that by root 3. 45 root 3 gives you the long side. Here is the hypotenuse, which is 17. Half of that is 8.5, okay, which is the short side, and the short side times root 3, 8.5 times root 3 is the long side. Give it any one side, the other two can always be found. Here is the short side, opposite the 30. It is with a radical 3, that's fine. When you take the short side, which in this case is 2 radical 3, and you multiply it by radical 3, you get 2 times, okay, the square root of 9, which is 2 times 3, which is 6. So here we have the long side is 6, and then when we take the short side and double it, we get 4 radical 3, which is the hypotenuse, okay? Here we have the hypotenuse. It is 6 root 3. Half of that is 3 root 3 is the short side. Multiplying that by root 3 will give us the long side. Multiplying 3 root 3 by root 3 will give us 3 times 3, or 9. Okay? Here is the short side. It is opposite the 30. It has a radical 3. That's fine. If you multiply that by radical 3, 8 root 3 times root 3, you get 8 times 3 for 24. That's the length of the long side. Okay? If now we double this length, we get the hypotenuse, and that would be 16 root 3. And somebody might be saying, oh, 24 is longer than 16 root 3. It is not. Okay, remember, root 3 is about 1.71. So I can guarantee you 16 times 1.71 will be longer than 24. Guaranteed. Okay, here we go again. Here we have the long side. It is 10. What do we have to do? We want the short side. Well, remember, when we have the short side and we wanted the long side, we multiply by root 3. So if we take this and divide by root 3, we get the short side. So the short side now is 10 divided by root 3, and of course we know we can't leave that way, so we rationalize by multiplying by root 3 over root 3. So that gives us 10 root 3 over 3 for the long side. I mean the short side, that opposite the 30. Double that would simply be 20 root 3 over 3, and that would be the length of the hypotenuse. Again, when given the long side, divide by the root of 3. So 12 divided by the root of 3 will give you the short side, but then we have to rationalize that. Here we go again. Multiply by root 3 over root 3, which will give us what? 12 root 3 over 3, which in essence becomes this side 4 root 3. That's 4 root 3. That's 4 root 3 for the side AD. Twice that is 8 root 3 for the hypotenuse. Again, here we are again. We're given the long side. When the long side, that's the side opposite to 60, is given, to get the short side, we must divide by root 3. But when you divide by root 3, you need to rationalize. So you need to multiply by root 3 over root 3. So that would give us 18 root 3 over 3, which gives us this side is 6 root 3. That's the side opposite the 30, the side AD. Doubling that will give us the hypotenuse 12 root 3. Okay, here we go again. Here we're given the short side. The short side is 6 root 7. If we double that, we get 12 root 7. That's the length of the hypotenuse. If we multiply that by root 3, we get the long side, which is 6 times the square root of 21. And the square root of 21 is the square root of 21. Here, we've got the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is 9 root 7. The short side is half of that, so that's 4.5 times root 7. The long side is the short side times root 3, which will make this 4.5 the square root of 21. Okay? Here is the short side. We want the hypotenuse, we double it. Doubling that, doubling 4 root 2 is 8 root 2. Given the short side, you want the long side, you multiply by root 3. That would give us 4 root 6. That's that. Okay? Do a couple more. Here is the long side, opposite to 60. It is 12 root 6. Okay? What do we do when we have the long side and we want the short side? We divide by root 3. Of course, here's a nice thing is we can make that 12 root 2. You should be able to see that. So that because you got root 6 over root 3, which is root 2. So this is 12 root 2. And now if we double that, we get 24 root 2, which is the length of the hypotenuse. Here, okay, we've got the long side is 9 root 2. We want to divide by root 3. You can't do that because you can't divide by radicals, so you multiply by root 3 over root 3, and that will give you a 3 in the denominator, which will cancel with that 9 to make that 3 root 6. You should be able to see how we got that. Okay, that's 9 root 2 over 3 times root 3 over 3, which is 9 root 6 over 3 for 3 root 6. Double that is 6 root 6 for the hypotenuse. Okay, let's do one more. This side is the long side. It's opposite to 60. It's 21. I want the short side, so I divide that by root 3, but then again, I got to rationalize that by multiplying by root 3 over root 3, so that should give me 21 root 3 over 3, which is 7 root 3 as the length of AD, which is the short side. Doubling that will give me 14 the square root of 3 as the length of the hypotenuse. Okay, so there you have it. Plenty of problems solved for you. Okay, you'll have some worksheet. You can do some more. The idea is right from here all the way back here. Whatever is given to you, okay, regardless of which length is given to you. Yeah, we always like to get the short length opposite to 30 because then we can just double it for the hypotenuse and multiply it by root 3 for the long side. But it doesn't matter. If you're given the long side, whatever it is, you divide by root 3, and that gives you, okay, that gives you the short side, and then if you double that, you get the hypotenuse. So any way you look at it, this is the principle, and try to remember that because we'll see it again and again and again and again. Okay, so there you have it. You'll have some opportunity to practice this on some worksheets coming your way. Okay, don't forget it.